Greetings, friends, and welcome back to the Sonia Show for the first episode of our Mother's Day edition. This is our Embracing the Moment segment, where we explore what it means to find peace, purpose, and presence in every season of life. Today, I'm joined by Mrs. Kaylin Boswell, a licensed mental health therapist, entrepreneur, and the author of the Postpartum Rediscovery Journal, 45 Days to Empower the New You. Kaylin is passionate about helping individuals navigate life's transitions with clarity and confidence. And today, she's joining us to talk about motherhood, identity, and the often unspoken realities of the postpartum journey. Kaylin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad we could work this out.
Me too. This is gonna be great.
Yes, yes. Now you're coming to us today from Texas, right?
Yes, so I live in a town north of Dallas. So
Okay.
it's been really nice. But that also comes with its own things because, my family is all in Pennsylvania. So that was a whole nother thing with figuring out how to navigate after
I'm sure it's quite different than Philadelphia.
100%. But it's nice. It's nice.
So, thank you for again taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. And listen, when I say busy schedule, you know that I'm including Little Miss because you are a new mother and you just recently celebrated her first birthday, right?
Yes, so she is officially one. We made it through the first year, which I think is a big celebration. I think the party was more for us too that we made it through the first year. But it was a great year. So we've learned so
Oh,
much.
that's awesome. Congratulations. For the
Thank you.
benefit of our audience, I'm a little partial here and I'm just going to spill the beans. So, I was there before the baby came when the marriage happened. Kudos to Mr. Boswell. Hello, sir.
Yeah, you saved us too for our wedding. So I
Listen,
still appreciate you for that.
it was a joy. And I mean, it was spectacular. I was just happy that I had a reason to dress up because, I don't get out often.
It was a good time.
My goodness, it was beautiful, just beautiful. So, Kaylin, you work with people navigating life's transitions, right?
Mhm.
And so, how did becoming a mother shift your own sense of identity?
Say it shifted a lot and it actually made me I think I'm still working on that right now, if I'm being completely honest. I think Uh, becoming a mother was a very, very big thing. I think you don't realize how much changes. I think people always say that, but then, when you're in it, it's like, wow, this is a real thing. And I also decided to breastfeed for her whole first year. So I feel like that also became part of my identity as well. And I felt like, I guess with that as well, you're really connected to your child when you're breastfeeding or exclusively breastfeeding as well. So it was one of those things that I really needed to find things that I could do for myself as well because you're always connected. No one else was feeding her. So it was one of those things that I was a little afraid that I was possibly losing myself because I wouldn't leave the house that often because it was hard to take her outside. So then I was staying home. So I really took, I would say, the last let's say like 6 months to really start prioritizing myself a little bit more. And that's honestly what even led me to create my journal because it was kind of the steps that I took to really identify myself and who I was as a mother, but also outside of being a mother.
Tell me, what does that look like? What does self-care look like when you begin breastfeeding and get through that first year?
Oh my gosh, I feel like it was one of those things that I was not practicing what I preached at all. It was one of those things where I felt like I needed that's why they say it takes a village, right? My friends and my husband and everyone was really they could tell that I wasn't really taking care of myself. I think I was putting everything I could into my daughter, which you should care it's a new person coming into this world. They require a lot. But for me, I noticed I really wasn't taking care of myself as much as I probably should have been, or how I've actually even talked to my clients in the past about. So for me now, me and my husband actually decided to figure out a healthy routine for us. We both work from home. My daughter just started daycare a couple days a week recently, so that's been helpful to give me a little bit more time to work and get other things done around the house. But we also prioritize, each of us has 2 days a week during the week that we can do our own things. For him, he has Tuesdays, Thursdays. I have Monday, Wednesday. And so after work, whatever that is, if that's going to a dance class, I started taking acting classes again, or just hanging out with friends, just really prioritizing getting out of the house and doing things for yourself. And I honestly would say that's probably been the best thing that we've done, is holding each other accountable as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome.
Hmm.
So, postpartum is something many women experience, but don't always talk about openly. And so, talk about what that season was like for you and what you wish more women understood about it.
For me, even as a therapist, I would say I had all of the coping skills. I knew all the coping skills and things to look out for. But postpartum is its own thing. It was a very hard time for me initially. There were definitely some days that got a little dark because it just felt like you're in this bubble. You're not talking to people as much. We're away
Mm.
from family, which is all things that we knew when we decided to stay in Texas. But I think being our first child, there was a lot of unknowns that you just didn't know about. So it was a lot of navigating that we had to do, but we had to really lean on each other. I think the biggest thing I would tell people as well is to really lean on your community. And we made our own community down here, which I'm really thankful for. But our friends were really helpful in that season for us by either, dropping off food or checking in and trying to get us out of the house when we need it to. You don't realize how sometimes the days feel so long, and it'll
Yeah.
be like, I look back at pictures now where I'm like, wow, I thought that was weeks apart. And then I look at the dates and it's literally days apart. But it felt so long sometimes because, you're not sleeping, you're trying to figure out what you're doing. I've never, my brothers don't have kids. So I'm the first one to, you know, have a child, and all my other cousins that have kids, they're all older now. So it's not like it's something I was around a lot. So it was hard, but I think I really realized the importance of community and being honest about how you're feeling, because the only way that people can help you and come in and support you is if they know that you need help. So I always encourage everybody just to really be honest. We don't have to be superwomen. We can acknowledge that we need help, and we're not supposed to be doing this on our own. So that was the biggest thing for me that I think really helped me get through postpartum in the first year.
Wow, that's a lot. So, the journal, it's
Hmm.
just to help women rediscover themselves, right? And
Yes.
so I think we've heard a mouthful about what inspired you to create it. And so, how do you hope it supports mothers in their postpartum season?
I really just hope it helps other moms just recognize the importance of prioritizing yourself. I know that we always hear people say, you can't pour from an empty cup. And I think that's one of the things that I think as a mom, a lot of times I feel like, even for myself, sometimes I have to remind myself I need to take a break. I feel like you try to do so many things, and they talk a lot about the mental load and then actually a physical load because you're, carrying a baby around all the time. And these are all things that are important. And so with my journal, I actually have it broken up into several different chapters or steps. So each week you're going through something. It's you prioritizing, even if it's just 5 minutes out of the day, that you're journaling or thinking about yourself, or identifying a part of you that you feel like maybe is important, or something that maybe you haven't been able to prioritize. And throughout the journal as well, it gives you little challenges that you can do. So by the end of it, you should be trying to re engage in an activity or a hobby that you did, reconnecting with a friend, doing things like that. It's really more of a way to get you more engaged with yourself and with the people around you. And I really hope that it supports people with understanding who they are outside of just being a mom.
Nice. So I see that it's a 45-day journal,
Hmm.
right? And so like when do you start? Like is it right after the baby? Is it like when do you
So I just told people whenever you feel comfortable. I think that it's one of those. I think postpartum for everybody is a little different. Where I think when you bring the baby home, there's so many things going on that if someone gave me a journal right then, I'd be like, "Ooh, okay." Like I don't have time to read this. I don't have, and I put that in there too. I say, even with the challenges, if you ever feel overwhelmed, this isn't meant for you to, it's not meant for you to feel more overwhelmed. It's supposed to be at a time that you feel like you can kind of take a step away a little bit. And even if it's just something that you, like I said, takes 5 minutes or out of your out of your day just to focus on,
Mhm.
I would say that that's kind of the main thing. So honestly, I would say, I mean, if you want to start early at like after a month, probably, but realistically, from my point of view, I would say probably after month two, after you kind of start, you know,
Getting a
getting your
routine.
footing a little bit, then you can kind of start. But even if it's a year after, you can still do that as well because it's really just for you to. It's really just questions for you just to reflect on yourself and what is important to you. So wherever that is for you in that time, whether
Mhm.
it's 2 months in or a year in, I think it can be helpful for anyone, really any mom.
Right, right. You said something that made me think about a question I've always had. You know, I don't have any children, but I've had everyone else's and have sufficiently given them back. And so, but you mentioned about the physical thing, you know, that happens. And I've always wondered that, like when I look at mothers and they have their kids on their hip and, you know, sometimes they might have more than one on one hip, one on the other. And I'm just like, when did you all physically become super women? Like you're hauling bags, you're hauling, you know, strollers and car seats, and I mean, just swinging them like there's no back muscle that is going to get pulled. Like, what happens to the body?
Honestly, I think it's one of those things that, I mean, I think God just prepares you for what you need in that time. I was laughing the other day with Isaiah about how whenever she knocks over her cup, I think my reflexes have just been so quick now. I made a joke. I was like, now I feel like I'm Spider-Man because I'm catching everything everywhere. And that was definitely not me before. So I think it's just one of those things that God gives you the strength for what you need in those moments. And it's funny, I used to always say to my mom about like, oh, being prepared to be a mom and things like that. And she's like, God always gives you what you need in those moments. And I would agree with that. I think your mind changes, your body changes. It's just, there's so much change that happens that I think just prepares you for, like, I feel like I don't go to the gym as often as I would like to, but I laugh because I say I'm wearing a weighted vest pretty much all day long. So at
Yes,
that point,
you
it
do.
is like going to the gym.
That is so true. So very true. Wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk to mothers who may feel like they've lost themselves in this process. So, what would you want her to know today?
I would say that, first of all, we've never fully 100% lost ourselves. It's more of us understanding who we are in this new chapter. So, whatever that is for you, first of all, I always say too, is if you feel like you have lost yourself, that's normally the first step that I would say that it's important to know that you need to start actually prioritizing yourself a little bit more. So, once those thoughts kind of start coming in, that's when I think it's normally the red flag for people to be able to say, ooh, okay, maybe I need to take a step back, or I need to ask for help, or I need to find some more time for myself. And I think the biggest thing that I always try to remind people is that we feel like we can do it all. Most of the time, we can do it all, but that doesn't mean we should do it all. So I remind people all the time that your husband is fully capable, or whoever it is that's helping you is fully capable of doing things for you. That doesn't mean you have to do literally everything. You have friends, you have family, you have other people that you can lean on for support. And I'm the worst at asking for help. I will be like, oh man, like I'm going to figure it out. But it's one of those things, like I've talked to my friends and I've been honest enough with them that now they know I will not ask. So they will now say, hey, I'm free this weekend. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to help. So you go out and go do something, go get a massage, go get your nails done, go do something. And that's been really helpful. But that's why I say the importance of people need to know how you're feeling and people need to be honest. I think it's more of understanding how you want this next chapter to look for yourselves, being able to prioritize what that is for you. Sorry, I know that was a little long winded, but there's so many different pieces of that that I feel like are just so important.
And you mentioned Isaiah, so because yes, you go through postpartum. What
Mhm.
part of that does he go
Oh my gosh, he is amazing. I said I felt so bad for him because you go through so much just from like after you have the baby, your hormones are just all over the place. When you're breastfeeding, those like hormones are changing again.
through?
It's so important to have a partner that understands you and understands like how to talk you through it or understands, well, really just understands you because he was the one that was able to tell me like, hey, you're not looking like yourself really right now. Is everything okay? Or hey, you probably need a little bit of extra sleep. Hey, I need like, are you eating? Are you drinking enough water? And I feel like he was just so helpful in those moments. But then at the same time, he also went through some stuff too, in the sense of he always tells me that I know I gave birth and I delivered and everything. But for him, I know he was kind of scared as well because birth isn't always very straightforward. So, he cares about my well being and Harper's well being as well. And I know he was a little stressed about that. He's not sleeping either. He still has to get up and, you know, cook and do all of those things as well. So it really just, I think, really showed me the importance of being a team and the importance of having good communication because the days that I wasn't 100%, he picked up the slack. And then the days that he wasn't 100% either, because he was pretty much giving me like 150 every day, I was able to step into. So I will say men go through a lot too. And I think we sometimes tend to minimize it because they don't go through the physical part of it,
Yeah.
but there's emotional stuff there too.
So I don't know what your plans are for the future, whether you're going to have another baby or not, but let's just say that you would consider doing this again. What would you do differently in light of all that we've talked about?
I think the biggest thing is, I think going back to the whole prioritizing yourself piece, I think I isolated myself a little bit too much early on. And I think it's because, well, she was born in February. At the time, that was when everyone was talking about measles and like there's so many things. And then you have postpartum is so crazy because, at least for me, I've never had, I would say, like very high anxiety. The amount of anxiety that I after I had her of like, what if this happens? What if this happens? And it's a lot of things that are very irrational, but it just shows how much you care um, about your child. So for me, I think it's more of understanding again, asking for help early, like earlier. And also, if we have a second one, we definitely will need help. I think it's one of those things like right now, it was just me, the three of us, and our dog. And that was even a lot. So it's like
Mhm.
reaching out to people, I think the sooner the better, being a little bit more intentional about getting out of the house, planning activities, just trying to make it a little bit more normal, I guess I would say.
Right, right. Whatever normal is, right?
Yeah, whatever normal is for you in that state. So is it going out to grab a bite to eat? Is it going for a walk? Is it something that makes you feel more like yourself? Because I think it's so easy to get, like I said, caught up in. There was a moment where I'm like, we didn't leave the house in a couple days. And then one day we woke up and we're making breakfast at 2 p.m. because she hadn't slept. And then by the time we slept and she was asleep, we woke up and I'm like, okay, I want breakfast. It's like, what time is it? We didn't even know what time it was. So I'm just
Mhm.
being honest. It's one of those things that it's easy to lose yourself in it. So that's why I'm saying prioritize whatever it is that makes you feel normal.
Mhm.
Reading, podcasts, going outside, seeing a friend, any of those things. So that's what I'm going to definitely do. I'm not going to just stay in my house.
Right, right. Can my listeners purchase your book and how can they get connect with you?
Yeah. So my book is available on Amazon. I actually have it here. This is what it
Yeah.
looks like. And they can connect with me as well through even, I guess my website is kaylinfordtherapy.com. I have a connection tab there if people want to message me that way. That goes straight to my email, so it's a little bit easier. I would say that that's probably the best way to get in touch.
Wow, awesome. Thank you so much. This has really been enlightening, and I thank you for sharing out of your experience with us. I know we're going to do a part two of our interview,
Yes.
and so I'm looking forward to that. And so, again, thank you so much. And remember, friends, you're not on this journey alone. Join me for the next segment, and let's embrace these moments together.